Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know about you guys, but when I hear that tunage right there, there's only two things that come to mind. Tom Jackson and whoop, whoop, whoop. Chris bleeping Berman right there. And we're talking about them, we must be talking about football. And if I'm talking and I'm wearing a Falcon shirt, I must be talking about football, and I must be talking about reactions to week one. And if you're not first, you're last fantasy football league right here. So let's get right into it. We had a crazy, awesome start to the NFL season from opening night on Thursday all the way till Sunday at about, 8:15. And then from 8:15 to 11:30, football just kind of dissipated from the face of this earth. And then it picked back up Monday at 8:15, and we saw a whole entire city just collapse in itself and then rebuild itself under the arm of Zach Wilson right there. Future potential quarterback of the Jets. All right, so just like the NFL kicked off in ridiculous, amazing fashion, so did the Will Ferrell, if you're not first, you're last league. We got kicked off with some great action in week one. We had some winners, we had some losers, and we had some real big surprises. So let's get right to it. Week one winners. This is pretty easy. Any team that started 1-0, you're a winner because you're still undefeated. So give a big props out there to Steve Butabi, Ashley Schaefer, Gator Don't Play No Shit, Ricky Bobby, and Chad Smith. Also somebody named David's Bold Team. That's not fitting with the mantra of this league. This shit's going to have to get fixed quick, fast, and in a hurry there, D-line. All right, what the fuck? All right, but we're talking about winners. Let's not just encompass all winners because they're not all created equal here. We had a couple guys that kind of stood above the rest. And my first one goes to Ashley Schaefer. For a team going into week one who I thought, oh my God, they got some quarterback issues. I watched Anthony Richardson play all last year. To think that he was going to come out and score over 20 points in week one as an NFL starting quarterback in fantasy, I would have put some money that wasn't going to happen. I mean, I might have gambled on it like somebody who used to wear number 18 for the Falcons used to gamble on things. So, Ashley, to see that happen and then to see you just totally kick ass in week one, that's a big prop to you, man. Winning by 30 points, that was incredible. All right, I'm also looking at Ricky. My team is 90% Dolphins. Bobby right there. So, Ricky Bobby, a.k.a. Juan Cieto. Another great week one right there with Tua leading the charge. If he's just going to throw the ball to Tyreek Hill every time, you got a chance of throwing for 400 yards at minimum every single stinking week. So you're going to be all right there. And before I even post this, I'm going to know how many some bitching if I don't say, Gator, don't play no shit. Also, good week one. Not phenomenal. Not good, but pretty good. Not that good, but pretty good. So he picked up the dub. He's probably not happy with his point total, but he's Anthony, so he's never happy. All right, our losers this week, pretty easy, same as above. If you lost, you're a loser. You have no victories this year. You are a bona fide loser through 1 week of NFL fantasy football. And in case they've forgotten who the losers were, that's Mustafa, Buddy the Elf, Glass Case, Frank the Tank, Chaz Michael Michaels, and Sex Panthers, who 60% of the time fail to win a fantasy football game. All right, so just like winners aren't created equally, losers definitely not created equally. And we look at the real loser this week, it's got to be Frank the Tank. My man right there, he would have beaten 7 other teams last week almost. I think 7 is the exact number right there. 7 other teams, but unfortunately, he played Gator. And Gator bested him by 3 points and kept him from the winner's circle. So Frank the Tank, next time, less time spent streaking down the streets of the quad, more time focused on, maximizing your lineup points right there, because who knows when 1 or 2 might kind of sway the pendulum one way or another. Also, Mugatu, you're a loser for a different reason. Not because you played good and lost, but because, good God almighty, dude, your team sucked it up in week one. I'm sure I don't got to tell you, Rymart, but shit on a shingle. That was god-awful. When you got 2 starters, 2 wide receivers, high-caliber players, scoring the same amount of points as me, as Justin Grant, as Brian Green, as Brian Hall, as anybody else in this league, Cody freaking Nobles, we all score the same as T. Higgins and Drake London this week. That's pretty damn embarrassing, pretty suckish. So for you, obviously we know that's not going to continue week after week, but That was just quite disappointing to start out the gate. All right. Now, the rest of you losers, you were just some losers. So, sorry, Chaz. You were a top 6 scorer and you still lost. That's a bummer for you. Frank, we already talked about you. Glass Case, this was your first game this season in fantasy in this League of Champions here. Wouldn't expect you. And plus, when you bench Breece Hall, I don't think it would have mattered in the overall score, but it's painful. Buddy the Elf, God, did not expect that loss to happen to you. Had you pegged as a winner because, well, let's talk about why. Because of my surprises. And my first surprise, that's going to go out to David's Bolt team. The man who had spent 90% of his draft capital by 8:15 on draft night, and then who spent the next 3 to 3.5 hours just jacking his jaw, having his internet go in and out, so it's and then just trying to get people to bid players up and become broke like he did. Needless to say, just stayed in the chat for 3 hours doing that, and then spent week 1 kicking Grant's ass up and down the streets of, we'll say, Dallas because of Tony Pollard. We could have said Pittsburgh because of Christian McCaffrey. Doesn't really matter right there. So David's Bowl team, I thought you were going to be terrible after looking at your team, but you got a chance. Clearly, I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about. My other big surprise, I mentioned him earlier, big old Ashley Shafe dog right there, who I thought needed a QB1, didn't have a QB1, but in fact he said, Thrills, I got your former QB1 right there. And when Jonathan Taylor comes back, that Indy attack on the ground, it's going to be tough to beat. All AR's got to do is throw 5-yard passes that aren't 95 miles an hour, and the Colts are going to be okay. All right. So those are my big surprises right there. Those are the winners. Those are the losers. Let's go ahead and talk about next week. We're not going to get detailed analysis right here. We're going to keep these videos under 10 minutes this week for my sake, your sake at home. I know you can only listen to my voice for so long before you get tired of it. I just ask my wife, she'll tell me the same thing. Ask my girls, they'll tell me the same thing. So this week, we got 6 winners. One of them, we got a surprise upset coming. Winners, Gator don't play no shit. You're winning. Ricky Bobby, you're winning. Buddy the Elf, you're getting off the schneid. You're winning. Steve Butabi, well, it's me, and I'm not going to predict myself to lose yet, so you're going to win. Frank the Tank, you're going to win. And then 2 people out there probably guessed who this is. Upset. Ring, 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 ring. Sirens going off in the background. Upset of the week. Right here, I'm calling it on Wednesday at 7:10, approximately 50 minutes before I get ready to watch AEW Dynamite. Mugatu, the team that scored 76 points in week 1, is going to defeat Ashley Schaefer, who scored 167 points week 1. Mugatu, I got faith in you. I know you're going to pull it out. Josh Allen can't throw more complete passes to the Jets than Aaron Rodgers did every single game. So I got faith in you. Pull out the dub, get to 1-1, knock Schaefer down to 1-1, and really get this league cranking. Because when Ashley Schaefer goes down, in case you didn't know, he's a former league champ, one of the best teams we've seen come through this league in years, a few years back. And B-Hole has the fantasy football expertise. Keep that in mind when making trades. Just think about that. All right, he's a swindler. He likes to pull the wool over your eyes right there every once in a while. All right, I know a thing or two about that. So those are predictions this week. Let's have a great week. Keep the shit talk flowing in Slack. Maybe this will help keep it going right here. And I promise 16 more of these videos, boys, every Wednesday or Tuesday if I'm feeling all right. So peace out. This is your commish, Thrills, Steve Butabi. I'll see you next week.